morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. The time is 9 a.m. and you are listening to and watching Good Morning, Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. I owe you weather. That's why you have the weather today. Yesterday morning, we didn't have weather before our interview, but we definitely have it for you guys today because the next couple of days are going to be very important. Rain is coming and so are thunderstorms, as you can see. Let's get into it. Today, we can expect a daytime high of 81 degrees with a daytime low of 77 degrees. Now on Monday, the daytime high predicted today was 83, if you recall. 81 degrees is our high today. It's going to be a cloudy day as well, and there's the elevated fire spread threat still persisting in many counties. And that's an interesting segue into today's interview. This evening, as we can see, 68 degrees for the nighttime high, 63 degrees for the nighttime low. Windy with showers and thunderstorms late. Those showers and thunderstorms appear that they will dissipate. The word of the day is dissipate. 68 degrees for the daytime high tomorrow, 63 degrees for the daytime low. And it's going to be a windy day with rain ending by noon. That is the prediction. And indeed, as we get into tomorrow night, look at the spookiness. 41 degrees for the nighttime high on Thursday night, 33 degrees for the nighttime low. Now that's very cold, very fitting for trick-or-treating. 50 to 55 degrees during trick-or-treating. Now I want to note that this trick-or-treating is Chicago-centric. The weather comes from the National Weather Service of Chicago, delivered to you here locally on Good Morning Aurora. The city of Aurora has its own distinct regulations regarding trick-or-treating. Please be aware of that. Friday, moving ahead, 57 degrees for the daytime high, 54 degrees for the daytime low. It's going to be nice and sunny on Friday with a little bit of cloud activity, very wispy, thin clouds. Friday night, take a look, 41 degrees for the nighttime high, 34 degrees for the nighttime low. Clear skies on Friday night. Now, as we get into Saturday, take a look, 64 degrees for the daytime high, 61 degrees for the daytime low on Saturday. Some cloud activity. Mostly sunny day on Saturday. Saturday night, look at that. Rain begins. 47 degrees for the nighttime high, 44 degrees for the nighttime low. That's a warm temperature to start having rain. And indeed, look at Sunday, 68 degrees. Now you see that. Well, see that? 68 degrees on Sunday, 62 degrees for the daytime low. Nice and cloudy day on Sunday. Sunday night, rain continues. Nighttime high is going up. 57 degrees for the nighttime high on Sunday, 53 degrees for the nighttime low. Let's recap. Today, daytime high of 81 degrees with a daytime low of 77 degrees. Tomorrow, 68 degrees for the daytime high, 63 degrees for the daytime low, and it's going to be cloudy, warm, but tomorrow night it's going to be cold. Friday, 57 degrees for the daytime high, 54 degrees for the daytime low. As we transition into the weekend, take a look. Saturday, 64 degrees for the daytime high, 61 degrees for the daytime low. And on Sunday, once again, 68 degrees for the daytime high, 62 degrees for the daytime low. That is your weather report here on Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. This morning, my guest today is Timothy Watkins of the United States Small Business Administration. We're going to be talking about disaster relief, resources, and how you, your home, household, neighborhood, and indeed nonprofits can benefit. Let's get started. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. The time is 9:06 a.m. You're listening to and watching Good Morning, Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. Rachel Cleghorn, good morning to you. Daniel Calderon, good morning to you. Vanessa Ann Calderon, good morning to you. And I hope that you all are having a blessed day as well. Today is Wednesday. We got a great guest on the show for his very first interview, and the first representative of the United States Small Business Administration, and that's Timothy Watkins. How are you?
I'm doing well, and it's Watson.
Watson,
Curtis.
excuse
Yes,
me.
sir.
I'm sorry about that.
No worries.
Yep. How you feeling today on Wednesday?
I'm happy to be alive.
Okay, absolutely.
World of the living. How about yourself?
About the same. What a great way to start the conversation. So, disaster recovery. Now, there's been a number of hurricanes specifically. Different counties that are listed here have experienced disasters as well. Talk about what the specific program going on right now, disaster relief efforts, and what brings you to the city of Aurora.
Well, I'm glad you asked. So the Small Business Administration responds to disasters in all 50 states. I am responding to Aurora because it is in Will County, one of the 7 declared counties. The counties that we're covering is St. Clair, Washington County, Fulton County, Henry County, Will County, Winnebago County.
Okay. All right. Now, I do have some information here that I'm going to read from briefly. We're going to touch on and talk about these specific pieces of it. And then also the link for what we're talking about today, sba.gov/disaster, will be shared in the description of this video. So the types of disaster loans that are available. First one we'll start with, tell us about the business physical disaster loan.
Yes, I'm glad you asked, Curtis. So the business physical disaster loan covers not only businesses. Of course, you see the Small Business Administration. Naturally, one would assume that we only work with businesses. That is far beyond the truth. We work with the residential side as well. So the residential side covers renters being able to qualify for up to $100,000 for the interior context of whatever might have been destroyed or damaged. Okay. The homeowner qualifies for up to $500,000 for the physical damage of the home. If they are approved for whatever reason, they do qualify for an additional 20% for mitigation purposes for future disasters as far as preparation and recovery. Now, the business and the nonprofit differentiate because they're not on the residential side. They qualify for up to $2 million, okay, not for only the physical damage to the building or the structure of the damages, but also for properties inside of the building. That can be machinery, equipment, inventory that maybe have been damaged. If obviously it can be fixed, you can utilize those funds to fix. But if they have been damaged beyond the point of repair, you can utilize those funds to actually replace those items.
Okay. Before we get into the next one, which, as I mentioned before the camera came on, EIDLs, I just started getting familiar with those. Before we get to the next one, what is required for an area to be deemed or designated a disaster? Is there a standard that the government uses in regards to lives or property that then makes that determination?
Yes, I'm glad you asked that question. So first off, the governor of the state submits a request to the federal government, and then obviously it goes up to the executive branch and then to the president for approval for emergency funding. Okay. So not only the SBA, the United States Small Business Administration responds, FEMA responds as well. Now, those delegations are obviously based upon the emergency managers of each county actually going out with field reps for the Small Business Administration, as well as FEMA making the assessments of the county to see if the county is going to be one of two things: a declared county, which obviously it gets covered from FEMA and the SBA with physical damages as far as grants from FEMA and loans from the Small Business Administration. But if they are not based as a declared county for the Small Business Administration, they are considered contiguous and they only receive the economic injury disaster loan.
Got it. Okay. Now, that's important. I'm glad to make that distinction of how it happens. So I'm a member of AmeriCorps.
Okay.
And I was fortunate enough through AmeriCorps to get FEMA certified for managing and developing volunteers. But when going different places and learning that and just being part of the effort, the collective volunteer effort on the ground, again, those kind of things of how it happens are over a lot of people's heads. We know that we're doing a good job. We know it's important, but how does an area become like you said, declared or designated a disaster. That's very good to know. Very good to know.
And I want to speak a little bit more in reference to that. So we have sometimes situations when we come in and an area may be considered a contiguous area, and then based upon another assessment, it is deemed that it is the declared area based on damages that were not known prior to. So I thought I would put that information out there as well.
Okay, very helpful. 9:11 is the time. Good morning to you all. If you are just joining us, Hugo Saltajerry, my dear friend, personal friend right there. Good morning to you, Hugo. Stacy Cardona, Jen Mendoza. Good morning to you, dear friend. And Dana D. Mercado. Good morning. Good morning, my beautiful city of lights. Have a blessed day. Be safe. Take care of yourself and each other. Come on. That's why I like. That's right. Okay. EIDLs, Economic Injury Disaster Loans. These loans are intended to assist through the disaster recovery period. Tell us a little bit more about EIDLs.
So the Economic Injury Disaster Loan Program is essentially just for businesses and nonprofits. This Economic Injury Disaster Loan is for the declared counties as well as the contiguous counties, and it is basically for those who did not have physical damages for nonprofits and businesses alike. And obviously it is for any form of financial obligation that the business or nonprofit was not able to meet as a direct result of the severe storms, flooding, straight line winds, and the tornadoes that occurred July 13th through the 16th.
Got it. And all these Illinois counties that are mentioned as well too. All right, now home disaster loans. Let's talk about those next.
So home disaster loans also fall under the physical disaster loans. The current lowest interest rates right now for those are 2.68 at the lowest interest rate. The highest interest rate is 5.375 for those who may be interested. Now, for that, you apply for the Small Business Administration. We suggest if you have had any form of damages that you take advantage. The application is free. Okay. You have an opportunity to pay on this loan for up to 30 years as far as loan terms are concerned. You don't have to pay on the loan for the first 12 months. So that is something that you definitely should consider if you had damages within that time frame.
Okay. Now, I want to read from 913 is the time. I want to read a little bit more about EIDLs and disaster recovery from our fact sheet that we have here. And once again, this information can be found on sba.gov/disaster. We'll put the link to that in the description of this video. The benefits of an SBA working capital loan for small businesses and nonprofits, as Timothy mentioned, up to $2 million to meet ordinary and necessary financial obligations. Low fixed interest rate with terms up to 30 years. No payment, no interest for 12 months, and no need to wait for insurance to settle before applying. Very good and helpful information for people. Also, what you need to apply for a disaster loan: email addresses and contact information for all applicants, social security numbers for all applicants and owners, and employer identification numbers, EINs, financial information, income and monthly expenses, a complete copy of the most recent federal income tax return, and insurance information if available. How do people apply?
So people can apply at sba.gov/disaster, as you just mentioned. They also can call our 1-800 number, which is 1-800-659-2955. We do also have a disaster recovery center that is turned into another center through the state of Illinois, and I'll make sure that you have that information to provide as well if someone wants to actually they're not familiar, it's their first time.
Sure.
They might want to go through the registration process. FEMA will be in this location as well.
Okay, awesome. And is that the way that people can check up on their application if they apply and
yes,
status and all that?
Absolutely. And once they actually sign up, and they'll get an account, and they can periodically check the account to see if they need anything, and they'll also be contacted via email as well as phone. And obviously, when doing the assessment of the property, make sure that you have the accurate information, because you don't want your application to be withdrawn. If you're in a situation when your application is declined, please do not throw away the decline letter, because unless it says final decline, you have an opportunity to overcome that reason for decline, and you can do that for up to 6 months.
Okay, so you can appeal that? Or
Yes, you
or
can basically appeal the decline and go for the reconsideration process.
Good to know. Very good to know. Very helpful. Okay, 9:15 is the time. So how'd you come to work for the SBA? You're a person who likes what you do. You really do. How did you come to be employed by the SBA?
I'm glad you said that, and I do like what I do because I get to help those in need. I actually found out about the SBA my sophomore year in college.
Okay.
When I'm from North Carolina, I was attending an HBCU of Winston-Salem State University,
Okay.
and that's how I came across it. My second stint around, I was able to work from home during COVID, and
Okay.
I was a loan specialist at that time, and then the opportunity came up for me to take the position I have now in public affairs, and I've been on for around about 4 years fully
Okay.
now.
Now, this show began in COVID, which has been a feature and a question that I've asked like almost all of our guests to who it's been pertinent. So, before COVID, like, the day, the week before, the month before, talk about what your duties and your job was like, and then tell me how COVID changed things.
So COVID, I actually came in directly into COVID.
Okay, wow.
So things were obviously different. We worked from home to help out those in need, and at the time, my obligation to the Small Business Administration was different.
Okay.
Because I was working on the other side for those who were actually trying to get approved and get funded. And the process, just to let anyone know, going through the loan process, it does take time, and you want a completed package for you to be considered for approval, and the opportunity to actually work with someone in person versus over the phone is better, in my opinion, because now you can have someone in person that you can take all of the documentation to and get that information pushed ahead so you can get a response quicker. We don't usually give a timeline, just an FYI, because everyone's situation is different. This is case by case basis. Prime example, me and you might be experiencing the same thing.
Right.
I might need more documentation than you need, and you have submitted a complete package as soon as you came in. I might need additional documentation that I have to turn in.
Okay, understood. Now, when it talks about the different counties and everything, you're originally from North Carolina, but you're now in Aurora. How often are you in some of these other counties and things like that? Because this is a Will County-based centric program that brings you here, for the time being. How often are you in the other counties? And does this extend also to? I noticed that there are some Indiana and Wisconsin counties as well, on the contiguous nature.
Yes. So we attend to those contiguous counties as need be.
Okay.
And we obviously are trying to respond to all counties. The declared counties are the primary, obviously, as far as the response is concerned. And we'll try to divulge our opportunities to be able to work with the contiguous counties as well. So obviously we work with the municipalities, the media, the Chamber of Commerce, and assistance to get our outreach out there so the communities of the public are aware that we're here and aware of the programs.
Okay, and this information is also available in English and Spanish too. There is a number to call as well. So the number for additional information is 1-800-659-2955. The number again, 1-800-659-2955. What are the typical, in a general sense, if you can, what's the typical restrictions?
So restrictions can be that you have a secondary home that's not used as your primary residence, and you're trying to claim that in certain situations, depending on, this is Illinois, it might be Florida, or whatever the case may be. You might be using a plane or a boat as a business property. That can be a yes or no, depending on how that's been utilized as a business. So you can be restricted from getting claims for that. You can have some issues if you've had a previous loan, because we did speak in reference to COVID and PPP loans. If that has not been made current as far as your payments are concerned, that can be a situation where you're not in compliance and you can be declined. But again, that could be temporary.
Sure.
Because if you can get those loan payments up and obviously in compliance, that application that you're currently applying for can be reconsidered.
Okay, good to know. Very good to know. The United States Small Business Administration. And you do public relations? Is that public?
Well, it's kind of public relations and public affairs.
Okay.
It's kind of very similar.
Okay. What's it like working with the chambers of commerce of different, different towns and cities? And
Well, it's always fun and rewarding because you're meeting the business owners, you're meeting the nonprofits. They are an extension of the municipalities. They work with the municipalities. So just an FYI, we will be trying to work with the chambers of commerce here and in other counties to possibly do a community as a whole opportunity when we basically obtain the resources of the chambers and the municipalities to offer resource fairs for those who might be affected, so they can not only learn about the disaster programs of the SBA, possibly learn about FEMA grants, as well as what's in their backyard already, especially in the city of Aurora.
okay, I'm glad you brought that up. It just so happens that I'm on the board of the Chamber of Commerce here. So if we need to make any other introductions or get those conversations, man, it'd be fortuitous. Once again,
Definitely would appreciate that.
Now, you and I just wanted to bring this up. The time is 9:22. So this is the strength of the news, ladies and gentlemen. We completed a great news day here last week.
Yes.
Was it a week ago?
Well,
It's been about a week.
A week or two.
Yeah, a week or two. Luz and I were coming outside to enjoy the beautiful sunshine after a great day of entertaining you with news, information, and the very best of Aurora. And I walk across the street, and who do I see? I see Tim here with some other friends, chopping it up like basil and having a good time out there. We connected and got to talk, learn about what you do and the importance of disaster relief. And here we are, man. It was really good. I appreciate meeting you and sharing this information. You're the first guest we've had from the United States Small Business Administration on the show.
Well, I thank you, and I thankful for being the first.
Yep. As we continue, and I want people, I'm asking these specific questions about SBA because I'd like if young people did choose the SBA as a career as well. We like to promote and highlight good organizations for young people too. What do you see in the future for disaster relief, but also for the SBA locally here and for other municipalities?
Well, for disaster relief in itself, we try to be fortuitous in getting the information out there, and also going through the preparatory system as far as making sure that you are aware of what to do in the event of a storm taking place and not being on the receiving end of the reaction. You're kind of already prepared before the reaction, and then that leads to a better opportunity to recover. So we not only obviously respond during the disaster declaration, but we also try to stick around for a little while, see if there's some long-term recovery efforts that we can further assist for future and better opportunities. And then we also have the district offices that are an extension of us that are on the non-disaster side that assist. That's right here in your backyard. I believe we have a district office in Chicago, Illinois, and then these are non-disaster loans that you should take advantage of for any variety of reasons. You may be a startup business. Mm-hmm. You might be in a position where you're trying to extend the business. We do have resource partners like the Small Business Development Centers and SCORE. SCORE is a group of retired and current professionals, mm-hmm. and they assist in so many variety of different ways, and they assist obviously with us helping get the word out. But we like to put this information out there so businesses and nonprofits can take advantage of them as well.
So when you talk about non-disaster loans, is that something for like general damage up to a certain amount, that kind of thing? If I'm a business that I may have suffered fire damage, but it's not a disaster. Is that the type of?
Well, it can be,
okay.
But it's more so if you're trying to extend or recreate or do something, and you need the kind of finances that the Small Business Administration on the other side, which is the non-disaster side, may be able to assist you with.
Okay, so a build out or an extension of my current business kind of thing.
That is correct.
Okay, got it. Good to know. 9:25 is the time. Aisha Saxon is here. Good morning to you, Aisha Saxon. And Jen Ingram and Tiffany Nesbitt are here as well. So the show ends on a positive. Okay, 9:25 is the time. Time goes quick.
Yes.
I want to say, first of all, great to meet you, man.
Great to meet you as
Great to
well.
meet you. And I hope that everyone listening, if this information is applicable and you can use it, please go to sba.gov/disaster and check out the eligibility, the requirements of what's needed. And if you find it beneficial to you, please apply. The show ends on a positive note. What is your message today for the people of Aurora?
Well, the people of Aurora, Will County, please take advantage of these opportunities as the application process is free. I know it's been a lot of information that we gave out, but please utilize the phone number, the website that we have provided. If you have any form of damages, whether that's on the economic injury side for businesses and nonprofits or the residential side for businesses, nonprofits, homeowners, and renters, please take advantage of the programs, apply. And make sure that you get a proper assessment done. If you believe that your assessment has been inadequate, you can always request another assessment, and we are here to help you.
Good to know. Well, I want to say thank you once again to Tim for coming on to the show today. This was great information as always when it comes to bettering our cities, neighborhoods, and the organizations that help strengthen it. Good Morning Aurora's glad to share this information. Thank you very much to the U.S. Small Business Administration. That is it for Good Morning Aurora. We will see you guys tomorrow with more news, more weather, and the very best of Aurora. Buenos Dias Aurora is going to start here momentarily, and Luz Elena Brambila Guerrero has something very interesting to show you. Mas Arts and Crafts. Take care of yourself and each other.
And I never saw you coming. When I'm with you, it feels like summertime. The sunshine I'm waiting for, I find it in your eyes. When we're apart, darling, I lose my mind. Counting every moment till your hands are back in mine. When I'm with you, it feels like summertime.
Being a local business in Chicago, we've always worked with community banks, but over time, those smaller banks started getting acquired by larger national footprint banks. It became time to work with Wintrust to meet our needs without having to have that big bank feel.
Wintrust understood what they wanted to accomplish, and they've increased in size 5 times over.
As we continue to grow, we're going to keep needing to borrow, so I'm sure they're going to love that.
Serving their needs. It's really the foundation of what Wintrust commercial banking is all about.